back. Running it back in this Ford Mustang convertible inline-4 turbocharged in the twists and turns in the hills. Going into the first bend and S-curve. Those automatic high beams are really nice. Man, this car is fast, but you have to slow down going into the curve because you don't want to tailspin. I could try to drift it. That's a little bit dangerous on this road. God. Wow. Felt the G forces on that little dip. Doing. Okay, pass him up. Plenty of traffic on the road tonight. All you need is a little tap on the brake before you enter in the curve, and then you can just accelerate through the apex. Like so. That was pretty darn fun. Ooh, not bad for an inline-4 turbo. Pretty impressed. Thanks, Carl. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this night drive. Peace out. All right, this week's rental is the Ford Mustang convertible. This is the new 2024 edition that has some pretty significant upgrades to the tech in the car, but overall this one is sitting on some 18-inch rims with some fat Continental tires, really no low pro. The design of the car has gone a little bit longer than the previous version. The wheelbase is longer, and it's adopted the front mesh grille, a little bit of a change in the headlights, but exterior wise, nothing has really changed too much. What's really cool is that it's showing up, the lights are showing up because my key fob is near the car, so it automatically unlocks it. Under the hood is a inline 4. Inline 4 with the turbocharged engine. So this is probably the EcoBoost. I like how you can see in this model now the little intercooler piping on here. This is a rear-wheel drive mounted engine, so it's a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and it's quite, I guess, it looks like there's a lot of engine space for this ride, but it's probably to accommodate the bigger variant engines that go along with it. Now let's take the rest of the look. I really like the design. Really nice. The inside, of course, this is probably like only if necessary to sit in the back. Awesome little cockpit area, and trunk space is actually pretty decent. I have like 3 carry-ons and some various storage stuff, and it fits. Even though it's a little bit compact, it fits. So let's hop on inside of this vehicle, and you're met with the cabin. You still have your customary inside lights. So for this, I'm going to turn on the engine. So, well, you know what? Let's see if I could just turn on the car. And then we're going to roll up the roof. Automatic with the press of a button. This button right here, and then you go. Once it's on there, go, and then you're gonna want to lock it down like so, and then it goes up like so. All right, so let's start this bad boy up. Let me roll up the front windows, and then you're meted with something that's going to be very different from the previous year's Mustang. So now you have a full digital gauge, and I think this is taking from the Ford Edge SUV and the Ford Mustang EV, but this is like 2 12-inch screens put together. So what has changed is it's now all digital and no more analog. Everything's went digital or electronic with this car. All the way down to they're not using the regular cable parking brakes anymore, but they're using the electronic one. So this is pretty much geared towards the a different demographics, the ones that are not pure driving enthusiasts, which may disappoint those group of people and drivers. This is more adopting the changing trends of electronics in the car. So I'm not going to go much into detail because the cabin is pretty much very similar to previous versions, but now that it's changed to all electronic, and some of the dash components has really changed. It makes it feel like more of a Dodge type of, especially this right here kind of reminds me of a Dodge. It never used to be like that. And then you used to have switches down here, but now it's just like buttons. It's like Dodge and Dodge and a Chevrolet. The Chevrolet Camaro and the Dodge Challenger series. That's what it really feels like to me with the trim level on here. Overall, the cabin space is super. No, I'm not going to say super, but it has increased a little bit. It's a little bit more comfortable. You have a little bit more elbow space room. There is a slight blind spot in the back, but since another part of this car is it has upgraded into its safety features, it really never used to have a lot of safety features because the whole theme of previous generations was geared to car enthusiasts and the actual driving experience. So some pure enthusiasts this may need to be getting used to, but overall, once we take this car on the road, we should see how the driving experience has really changed compared to previous years. All right, let's do that next. So before we get on the road, I actually want to point out a significant change to the exhaust system and the intake. So the inline 4 in previous version, the turbocharged versions, didn't really sound like a muscle car, but now you can hear the rumbling of it, and then the exhaust note is quite deeper in here. So let's go ahead and take, and even the acceleration feels more, when it's accelerating, it feels more like a muscle car. It's really deep, satisfying sound, and even though it's an inline 4 turbo, it will get up to speed, and you kind of have to get pretty mindful of how fast you're going. All right, I'm about to merge onto the freeway traffic, so I'm going to pause the video real quick. Okay, so I'm settled on the freeway. So let's talk about this car on the road. First, let's start off with the cabin. Inside is, as I mentioned earlier, was very spacious for the front. Can't say the same about the back. And so, since this is geared towards a younger demographic and not pure driving enthusiasts, at least in the convertible inline 4 turbo variants, they're trying to really make this as kind of like instead of like a sporty sports car type feel, they want to make it kind of like a luxury sports car feel. You do get leather all over the seats. You have also heating, seat heating and steering wheel heating. Along with the seat heating, you have the heating, and then also for summertime, you have the cooling feature as well. So that's really pretty nice. The biggest change, of course, as I already mentioned, is this big dash that is fully electronic. So it used to be a small little 5-inch screen down here, just bare essentials. Everything else was geared towards driving, but now it's geared towards more of a comfortable luxury feel, and then the driving components complement that as well, complement the comfort level of the cabin space. So now let's just jump into safety first. There wasn't a lot of safety features in previous models. Maybe the only thing that it did have was like blind spot detection on the side rear mirrors where the lights will come up. But now, since they are gearing towards a different crowd with the convertible variant, during speed control, cruise control, when you turn that on, you will now have lane assistance as well, and that actually keeps it also kind of makes it like a smart car. So I don't think the only thing that is really missing is once you set the cruise is the collision detection. That's what's missing with it. What's also missing is paddle shifters. Now, I don't really use paddle shifters too often, but now that I don't have it, I kind of miss it. But you do have a way to change it. You change the modes of let's see you change the modes. So you have normal, you have sport, you have track, you have drag strip, you have slippery, and then you have custom. So let's switch this to sport, and not only does the gauge change as well, but the driving mechanics does change too, so you feel like you're going, the performance is increased in sport mode as well. So that's a pretty nice little feature. Set it back to normal mode since I'm on a road trip, so I need to save some gas. What's next is that really pretty much wraps up the modes of the driving modes and the safety features. So you have blind spot detection, you have lane departure and driver assistance, where if you go out, veer off the lane, it'll keep you inside the middle two lines. So let's talk about performance before it gets too dark here. The performance of the inline-4 turbocharged, I think the tuning made all of a difference, because I really feel like the car is longer and a little bit bigger. So I would think the turbocharged inline-4 would be underpowered, but it's actually not really. So a lot of times it has great acceleration all throughout the power band, and you hear that deep growling noise, so it mimics like a muscle car, but then it stays at speed pretty well too. So like I said earlier, if you're not paying attention, you could easily hit 80, 100, and it would not, you couldn't even tell. That's how cool and calm this sports car is. Now, saying a muscle car is an inline 4 turbo, it doesn't have a nice ring to it, in my personal opinion. When it's muscle cars, it's a V8 or maybe V6, but Chevrolet's doing this. I think the Ford Mustang was the first to do inline 4 turbos, starting from their Ford Escort, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, that, and now the braking is really responsive. Steering is great, very nimble. Suspension is, for a sports car, is pretty soft. You will feel the bumps, but it's not as harsh as some of the other cars. So overall, I think before that, gas mileage is pretty decent. It's a 16-gallon fuel tank, and it'll give you a good 350 miles, let's say. And look at that, here I'm passing up cars, not a problem with power. And you have that deep, satisfying exhaust note to go along to complement that, which, like I said, the driving experience is a little bit different. That was leading to my final point. It's a little bit different because it's geared towards the younger crowd. They may not care about any of the other things that is driving in peers would care about. They're probably more liking of the stylishness of it, and then the performance would be a second feature towards the styling. And also, being a convertible, performance may not be a priority on here. But overall, the new 2024 Mustang convertible inline 4 turbocharged is a great ride vehicle to ride around in. I purely enjoyed it this week, even though it was a different experience, driving experience. I still prefer the OG style, but that's hopefully, if I could get into a 2004 GT 5.0 or something like that, I can do a review and see if they've changed, those variants have changed over into like fully electronic. So the convertible Mustang has grown up, is now adopting the smart technologies, and that's not a bad thing. It's still an enjoyable ride in a different way, but enjoyable nevertheless. I'll probably post, once I get back into town, I'm going to probably take this to my little but this little spot that I have that is really curvy, and I do all of my performance testing in that area. So I'll probably add it to the video. But thanks for watching. Till next time.